Hello and welcome to the 36th episode of the Chambler build series. Every piece of front sheet metal fabrication is done, everything's sealed up, and everything's painted. So without further ado, I'll show you how this wonderfulness came together. Let's go right to it. Well, I ran out of CAD materials, so I had to go get some more CAD. I realized as I was doing all this work that I'm basically just recovering the engine with crap, so I'm going to blow everything out of this area, clean everything off once more, wrap it in one of these nice little tarps, and then start blowing through the passenger side. Cover this area as well, so I'm basically going to cover from there over and keep as much crap out of the engine and off of this new material as I can. So I'll blow this off and start working. I've got some tricks for the front suspension, and I shouldn't say tricks, I should say I've got some parts on some other cars that worst case I'll be using, depending on how it goes when I get there, but that's a little bit farther along. So now it's time to start cutting and welding. I need to restructure a lot of this as quickly as I can, but the first thing I have to do is get this tied together to the frame somehow, figure out what I'm going to do, because on the driver's side and before, this would have had structure all the way down, tying it into the chassis, and there's nothing. This has got to be reinforced. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this area up, get some of the junk off this, make sure it's good metal, see what I can do to push it and tie it back, and use some of those brackets I got from A&A from the shop tour to pin it to the frame. Let's see if I can take the shock out. Come on. Come on, you little bugger. Well, these shocks are still good. I'm not going to be reusing them, but they are still good. Yeah, they're way too good. Okay, so I'm going to needle scale the bejesus out of everything, get the junk cleaned off, and then take the shock out and figure out what the hell's going on. Before I go crazy cutting anything else up, I'm going to cut that freaking bumper bracket off, get it out of my way, and then I can really start hammering on stuff tomorrow. Because I'm definitely going to need a shower after this thing. I cut all the bad metal out and completely clean this area up. Bracket's going to go right in here if I can get my fingers to work, and tie this in. I cleaned this area up as well, straightened out the shock bracket. This little piece is going to go up and over here, tie this together, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to tie this to the frame. When he cut all this stuff up, he also put a pretty good line into the shock bracket, so I'm going to put some weld back through here, reinforce it. So that's what I'm doing now. Everything is clean and prepped. I went ahead and made this bracket. It's going to mount like so. This is not rusted out, it was actually torn up, so I just basically enlarged it with a grinder, and that's going to be tacked in place and filled. Got a couple holes, so I'm going to slam this bad boy in there. The front passenger bracket's all in. I've got this next bracket made, so go right there. First thing I have to do is take this crossbar out. I'm very happy about that. I had made this crossbar hoping it would only be in here for a week or two, and it's been probably 5 months now. So I actually get to take it off. Yay, progress. It is progress. I'm happy about that. I know I might not seem that happy. I'm just tired of this car. I like this car. I'm going to like it a hell of a lot more when I'm done with this car and I'm driving it and doing fun things and racing people on a track in Missouri. I'm coming for you, New Guy's Guitar. I'm going to race that U-Haul. I'm going to beat that U-Haul. But in order to do that, you've got to go over to his channel, like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you need music for your videos, hit him up too. He's got some cool tunes, but he's got to hit the 500 subscriber mark to make it a no-name so he can race that thing. Because it's not just this he's racing. He's got a Model T he's going to race a U-Haul rental truck against. So if you want to see that, go check him out. Tell him I sent you. Now let's do some actual work. I also put the radiator back in to verify that my new brackets are going to work just fine, and they are, thankfully. The upper brace for the front is all set. Now I have to figure out what I'm going to do to trim this up and start to cut away at this excess like I did on the driver's side. I cleaned this up and then trimmed this face up. I put a 16 gauge support in here like I did on the driver's side. I'll go ahead and start cutting all the excess off here now. I'm going to cut as much as I can without making it too flimsy because I need to go. That blade's gonna break now, of course. Well, the blade broke, which is what I expect. When you get them bent sometimes, you can just feel that they're not what they used to be. That's a shame because I only have the one Diablo blade for center material. Those Diablo blades and grinding wheels, man, those are chef's kiss. Very, very nice. Not sponsored, just what I found with using everything I could find at every store I could go to. The Bauer blades from Harbor Freight aren't bad, but those Diablos are just, I'm going to figure out what other areas I'm going to try to cut now. Once I do, I'll bring it back and show you the carnage. More stuff for the scrap pile. Can't even hear myself think. I hate to keep cutting material off, but I need something more consistent, and I at least have a plan of attack. Sort of. With the 3 points of bracing, I believe I should be able to cut this sucker out of here now without having anything fall apart. So that's what I'm going to do to try to make this as smooth and fast as humanly possible. We'll see what happens. It could just go... It shouldn't, but it could. Strut tower out. And if you're wondering, they're not going to be the same side to side. There's just no way around it. I wasn't even going to bother trying to make them the same because nothing is the same left to right on this thing at all, unfortunately. One of the support arms that he made on the other side, I basically just knocked off with a hammer. See if this one works. This one popped off when I was cutting the braces in half. It flew out as I cut it free. So we'll see what this one does. Oh yeah. It's like they didn't even try. My welds aren't great. I mean, they're strong, but they look like crap for the most part. They're getting better, but still. This is, woo, this would have been, this thing was, I hate to say it, and I've said it before, and I'd like to say it again. It was a death trap. I'm glad he didn't really get a chance to drive this. I'm afraid it would have hurt him. Truly. Not just YouTube, drama hurt him. Like, actually hurt him. I'm just going to keep putting pieces in. This little booger is going right there. Got this bad boy welded in, notched this out. Made a little tab for it from the stuff A&A gave me, which is awesome. It's going to go in here and support it. This little piece is going to cap off inside here, which hopefully you can see. Basically, there's a empty space there. And this little guy is going to go like so, and then I can build up from here. I made this plate to fit in this space. It's going to take a little bending, a little persuasion once I've got a couple things pinned in place. But it's going to work out nicely, and I'll bring it back when it's done. Unfortunately, I ran out of gas right at the last two welds. This panel formed pretty nicely. I'll get some more gas first thing in the morning, so it'll be Monday. Yeah, I'm actually happy. This is nice and strong. It looks decent, nice coat of paint and clean up some of the welds, and you'll only completely know it's somebody did something custom, but hopefully it won't be, ooh, God, he did something custom. Like, ee. I got nothing else to say. I'm tired. But I do appreciate everybody sticking around, and to everybody that's new, there's all kinds of tons of fun coming. So, getting down to the wire, fun things with the car, shenanigans. I'll see you in a few seconds. Got a new tank for the welder, so I went ahead and get the last couple spots I couldn't finish yesterday. Last time I did go ahead and level this area out, clean it up, and I made a panel for it. I'm going to get this little guy in here as well. This side's going to be a bit different than the driver's side. I'm not going to go ahead and cut it and pound it flat. I'm actually going to make a piece that comes off here and connects to there. I might have to reshape it just a hair, but nothing like I did with the driver's side. Trying to go for speed with this one. Let's get to it. Everything through here is all finished. I'll grind this little edge back once I fit this little booger in here. So that's basically going to go like so. I got this plate made up to cap off the strut tower. I can't put the braces in like I did on the other side because the vent tag is here, so I'm going to try to do some things in a different way. It's also going to hook into the floor differently as well. I need to figure out where I'm going to put the battery, the overflow tank for the coolant, etc. in the Chambler, and I've got a 1-to-1 here with the Cherokee. The problem is the area in the Chambler is shallow from where the frame horn is to where the top of the fenders are, so I don't have as much space. I'm likely not going to be able to get a battery in the compartment and still try to maintain the ground clearance, or at least the wheel clearance inside the inner fenders. I'll figure it out. Just a bunch of stuff to try to work my way through as I'm making these new parts. The battery magnet up in the trunk, don't know yet, or maybe I can find a real small battery. I don't have the money for a small battery right now. Just gotta keep making inner fenders. So, Cherokee, there's all kinds of videos on this bad boy. It's actually the most popular thing on my channel. I think I was saying the height from here in the Cherokee to the top of here on the fenders is probably a good 1.5 to 2 inches taller. So I'm running into limitations there. So this is an approximation of the battery, which I did make a short on this if you're interested in seeing my yucks. But this is not going to fit, and by the time you put the bracket on it and everything else, it's just not going to work out. I also was going to try to put the battery back here, which hopefully you can't see. I was also going to try to put the battery back here, but there's just no space. It's too tall. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. Like I said, it's probably just going to be in the trunk. If I can figure out a way to put this in here, I will. That battery's light. Bigger thing is going to be try to locate the coolant overflow tank somewhere in here. If I can find a smaller one, I will, but I have this one, so thereby the cost is negated. So if I can use it, I'm going to. I'm going to throw the radiator in here and do some more measurements. Maybe the next little piece. It's going to go right here, and hopefully I can make this out of one big piece. That's the goal anyway. We'll see what happens. Welding time. I made this formed piece. It's going to slide right up in here. And I should have just one last piece and be done with the inner fender structure, which would be awesome because I got 10 million things to do, so let's get to it. And the passenger side inner fender well is completely done. Got 1 or 2 little things left to do, and then my buddy Derek will be over here and we'll start doing some prepping and some painting and some other stuff. I ended up putting some seam sealer in here because I'm finally at the point where I need to put this cap on. I'll figure out what I'm going to do to connect this to this, and I'll show you when it's done. I've done a bunch of stuff. Derek's done a bunch of stuff. He's over here today, and he seems to have most of the engine compartment. So this weekend I'll be painting it and cutting more parts out and putting more parts in. All the fab is done up here, in theory. It's going to be black inside, like my soul. Yeah. He's in the corner, you probably can't see him. I think it's actually finally time to cut that first cross brace out because it's in the way now. So cut to the choppy footage. Here we go. I'm gonna slice this out and Derek's gonna be here in case I die. So win-win. They can't see.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, it didn't compress and kill me, so that's a good step one. Did you feel any giant movements?
No.
That's what I figured. No, it should have. If it was going to kill me, it would have done it when I popped the first one.
No, I'm holding the door and I didn't feel.
It should be more solid than either car was from the factory at this point, and I'm maybe halfway done with restructuring, so I'll take a big win. I'm happy. Very happy. I'm also very tired. If anybody needs a really tall skate grind rail, let me know. It's $5,000. It's special. It's one of a kind. Or, well, one of 3.
Funds the charity project.
Yeah, I'm the charity project. Oh, I'm stuck on Band-Aid brand because I'm literally, Derek, I'm literally, oh, there we go. I'm caught on jagged metal in the car. That was fun. Yeah, that's where he just ripped the hat section out for the seat front.
Yeah.
He literally just ripped the shit out. I don't get it. It's still level. It's still level. That's impressive work right there. I'll pat myself on the back if I wasn't in so much pain.
Any type of condition back.
It's not heavy, thankfully.
Right.
It's one of those. No, it's not bad. Likely going to repurpose this as a trunk support because I'm going to have to cut the trunk half out as well. So.
Oh, for sure.
It's time to figure out how well panel bond works, at least in my case, and got a couple of pieces I need to put in places and done welding certain areas, and I can't with all the seam seal that's been put in. There's other areas that I need to go ahead and use it because it makes the most sense and see how it works. I ended up getting 2 tubes of this, and we'll see. This is not cheap. The gun's more expensive than the stuff is. But the applicator gun, not the gun, you know, YouTube. So get working on it and see how it goes. It should work pretty well. I'm gonna wear a respirator with it because this stuff is supposed to be pretty nasty. I've never used it before. Get the concept. Let's see if I can put it in practice. Practice, yeah. How about practice? The only place I can do this is off screen, so, or at least the only place I can put this stuff on the material is off screen. Sorry, don't want to touch anything while I'm working with this. Supposed to try to clamp the materials together. So that's probably going to be the best chance for me to actually do that because I'm going to have to kind of wedge some of this stuff together. Again, see how it goes. This little teeny piece is going to fit in that chunk of the cowl that I couldn't fix. Couldn't get in there, and the material's not willing to be welded real well. So throw this in there and wedge it in. I could do a bunch of other stuff inside. I'll try to get you in there to at least see it. Probably the after effect, but because I got to work fairly fast with this, so I'll bring it back in when I figure out a way to show you as much of it as I can. Probably just be the after work. There's going to be a lot of better channels to show you how to use this stuff correctly. I'm winging it. I've stuck everything together I can think of at this point, or filled all the gaps or certain areas that I thought that would come in handy to kind of seal if I pushed it in. See, the guys at the shop said it should work like that. Not 100% sure. You got to prep everything real well, so hopefully I did that. I'll know once I come back later, because unfortunately I have a couple things I have to do today. Tube, actually, there's a lot of material that came out. I was able to do a lot more areas than I figured I would, and I still have material left, so what I'll do for the next areas that I have to do for some of the floor patches and things, I'll just make sure I have everything cut and ready to go. Because it is expensive, but thankfully it does go pretty far. My buddy Derek got everything sealed up under the hood. I'm going to blow it off one more time, sand a couple little spots down, pull the bag off, aluminum foil, cover some of the stuff I need to, put a bag back over the engine, and start the priming and painting. A couple more friends are going to be over this afternoon, and hopefully get on more progress in today. So I'll bring it back in when fun happens. Fun. I'll end up putting another bag over the engine after I do some other things cleaning up, but I need to at least blow all the crap that was on there as well off of it. I'm also going to take these shocks off because I need to be able to paint the sides of the frame, and the shocks are in the way, and I'm not going to likely reuse them anyway. So I've seen people use the aluminum foil trick where you wrap things you don't want to get paint on with aluminum foil. It's easier to tape everything. So I'm going to try for the power steering lines and some of the other stuff that I can't really cover. I don't want to have painted. So. And out comes the shock. Shock number 2. Just sitting it down a little sprayway. Oh, that's gonna leave a mark. Just get everything finished, and we'll start priming. I'm gonna tape and bag off over top of the car. I still want it clean because it should make the tape stick a tiny bit better. A lot of channels use this. I picked it up watching Vice Your Garage and Weird Beard. Painting time. It is raining, so I'm gonna have to close the door, and I'll finish doing a few things. But temperature's alright enough to paint. A little cold, but it'll be fine. Primer is done. I'm going to give it about 10 more minutes to dry, and then I'm going to hit the first top coat color. It's going to be satin black. 2 coats primer and 2.5 coats of top coat color, which is satin black, and I think it looks pretty good. You won't notice the imperfections and blemishes and stuff once the wiring's in there and everything else is in there, but it's going to be a nice base, and it should be dry by the time my buddies come over because it's dry to the touch now. I've got so much to do in the back, I'll figure out who's doing what and who's going where. It is still raining. It's supposed to stop hopefully by the time they get here because I need to roll half this crap out because I don't really have the space with just me. So it's going to be really bad if there's 3 of us in here. So let's go ahead and debag the engine. Pull all the aluminum foil off. Hopefully it's fully baked by now. My buddy should be here in a couple minutes, and we'll figure out what they want to do to help. I'm fairly sure I said before I'm going to paint these panels green because you'll be able to see some of this from behind the grill and the headlight buckets. So we'll do that, then just get back to working on the rear suspension. Well, thank you for watching the 36th episode of the Chambler build series. I'm currently making the frame rails for the rear section where the Cherokee meets the Rambler because he had a giant Bluetooth section, and there's all kinds of other fun stuff. Like these shackle brackets, I'm also modifying these because they run like crap. So you should see most of this in the next episode because I am rapidly running out of time, but I am constantly working to make you at least medium quality content. Can't promise high, but I can at least promise medium. So like, share, subscribe, let me know what you want to see, and I will see you next week. Oh, welcome to the 36th episode.